award-winning Tennessee WildCast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. We are once again at the Hatfield Knob in East Tennessee at the Elk Tower, bringing you a few shows from here this week. And, man, we're excited to be here. Matt Cameron's helping me co-host again, but we got Rusty Dunn, the OHV Manager here on North Cumberland, and Dustin Burke, the OHV Sargent, and they're going to be updating us on what's going on around here as far as riding goes and the fun that you can have riding ATVs, UTVs, dirt bikes, things like that are done out here. But we're going to first get to know these guys, and I'm sorry, Rusty, I'm going to jump over. You're going to start with Dustin because he's kind of famous now. Yeah. There was an incident at Neyland Stadium where the Vols
beat Bama for the first time in 15 freaking years.
Bama, yes. But you know who caught that ball when it went through the upright?
The sheriff's deputy. The sheriff's deputy.
No, Mr. Dustin Burke was working the field, and I'll let him tell the story.
The world's most famous unknown man. So I pretty much just caught the ball. I hit the ground, picked it up, and all I could think about is better give it to the ball boy. So for anybody asks, why didn't you keep the ball? Because they like their balls, okay? So I handed it over.
Yeah. I think they've got a number on them. You probably should give that back. But, yes. I thought that was cool. I saw the guy, and I thought, well, that's a state trooper, or that's a sheriff, or that's, man, one fact was one of our guys. Because I know you guys, y'all work for all Navy, make sure they're safe out there on the water, but then they allow some of our guys to come in and work security on the field, and that's awesome, though. I mean, you got to see that game.
Oh, it was the best game ever.
Yeah, and be in that atmosphere. Tell us how that was. I mean, just that atmosphere.
Well, you don't really understand it. I've been in the stadium, in the stands, and 100,000 people screaming is nothing like it is when you're on that field. I think it was 124 decibels or something. They set a record that night.
Wow.
It was loud. You couldn't hear yourself think. So you see why Alabama got so many penalties. I mean, I don't even know how they snapped the ball.
Couldn't hear the snap count.
Yeah. No way.
Hey, let me throw this out there too. You got to take a young man to a football game earlier this year that you befriended and that we've had a lot of dealings with. So talk about that real quick.
There's a young man in Scott County. He's been battling cancer for the last 4 or 5 years. It's a rare form of cancer that affects his leg or bones, but it affected his leg, his left leg, from about the knee up to the knee or to his ankle is a metal rod. And he fought it off the first time and did good for I think 2 years, and then it came back in his lungs, and he's fought it off again. His last chemo treatment was right before football season started. We got together and got this young man a rifle and some other good stuff, and another generous man donated 2 tickets to any football game he wanted to go to. And
wow,
he picked the first game and the Florida game. He couldn't have picked 2 better games.
Dang right.
So he got to experience that.
We'll give a shout out. Mike Sather was the man that donated the football tickets and a bunch of fish and tackle, and then who was the man that helped pay for his lifetime license?
Scott Terry. I forgot about that. We got him lifetime license.
Yeah, they showered that kid with some awesome stuff that day.
Oh yeah, he eats, sleeps, and breathes game warden stuff. As soon as we got to the game, the first game, he wanted to go straight to those boats.
Is that right?
Yeah. Can I see their boats? Yeah, dude.
He will be one of us one of these days.
He will. That's his dream.
I really believe that.
Yeah. That's his dream. So yeah, it was great, and he's excited. He texted me literally 20 minutes ago.
Wow.
I want to know if muzzleloader season opens in a few weeks and this stuff. So yeah.
Let me throw this out there too. We had it figured up to get him his lifetime license for a while before we could actually give it to him, and he wanted to go hunting. So talk about that real quick. Tell him to go ahead.
Yeah. So we'd already talked about it. His license had been bought, and we'd already paid for it. But his family, they live way back up in the back country of Scott County, so they have a whole lot. So he calls me. He goes, "Man, I want to go deer hunting." He said, it was deer hunting. He said, I want to go hunt turkey hunting. Was it turkey?
It was the spring. It had been turkey season.
So he wanted to go turkey hunting, and I said, "Dude," and I'm thinking, we've already bought it, but we can't tell him. So I'd already talked to his father. He knew. They kept it quiet. I said, "Man, just go do it." He said, "What?" I said, "Just go do it." I said, I know a few guys. You'll be fine. He said, "Are you serious?" I said, Just go do it. I said, let me know if you kill anything. We'll fix it up. I said, we'll make it work. And this kid was freaking out. So we had to eventually tell him what was going on. But
That's awesome.
He was all about it. He's like, I'm fixing to be an outlaw. I was like,
Like you're setting him up.
yeah, but you know what was funny? He goes, what they don't know don't hurt. And I thought, oh, my God. We might have made a mistake here.
Takes one to know one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. That's awesome to hear those stories of you guys doing that kind of work and helping folks in need, and that's awesome, partnering with other people, and that's just 100%. That's awesome. Well, while you were talking, an elk ran across the field. So
I saw that.
this is why we come to the elk tower to see these elk, and you know, like we've talked on previous shows and future shows, this is a good place to come at this time of day. What is it, like 5:30 I think, and later in the day and early in the morning, it's the time you're going to see these elk. And if you can't see them in person, check out the elk cam on our website, tnwildlife.org. Rusty, tell us a little bit about yourself. You've been working up here a long time, haven't you?
I've been here a while. I started with agency back in '93 as a contract creel clerk, and then I hired on full time in the fisheries department, Region 4 reservoirs, and worked there until 2002, and I became a wildlife officer for Anderson County. And then I saw the opportunity to do something that nobody really ever done with our agency up here, and I've been here ever since 2005 for 17 years. So
yeah, 17 years. Running the ATVs and OHVs, and I get them mixed up sometimes. They call them OHVs.
They call them everything.
Yeah.
Well, there's quads, side by sides.
Yeah.
There's just everything. It's different names.
He's the brain trust behind the old
I
program.
don't know about that.
Doing a lot of good work.
Well.
Yeah, doing a lot of good work up here. I didn't realize you were in fisheries before this. That's pretty cool.
yeah, sure enough.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it again. A lot of our guys have jack of all trades. They do a little bit of everything. They can fix things. They can make things happen. They know their biology. They know their technical side of things. So that's awesome.
Talk about some of those guys up here that like Fred Jordan's. He still working for us?
Yes, he's still. He and Jamie Miller came on with me. They came in 2006. 2005, I was a Lone Ranger, and just starting to getting equipment and things. And since 2006, they've been with me throughout the whole time. They've not left and have stayed. And he's actually 83.
Is he
runs
really?
A dozer every
Wow,
day.
man, he's
Loves
a
it.
tough dude
It's amazing.
now.
He is a tough dude.
He's amazing.
He's stout too.
He is. Yeah.
I wouldn't tangle
Keeps
with him.
moving. Keeps moving. Yes, it's good. And Jamie's like a wonderful person, been with me the whole time too.
Yes.
And now I have Ray Bostic in the crew.
Ray's a good one.
He's good. He's been up here with us for several years, and he's doing a great job in the program. But
Is Jamie's name actually Jamie or Jimmy?
Jimmy Miller is what his name is in.
But he goes
in
by
the system.
Jamie.
Jamie. Yeah.
Okay, because
yeah.
for the longest time I thought I've been calling this guy the wrong name
No,
my
he's
whole
Jamie.
career. He's like, no, everybody calls me.
Jimmy's what he is in the computer.
Okay.
But Jamie is what he uses.
On paper.
Yeah, on paper.
Good people, man.
Yeah.
Well, we're here to talk about the OHV program and being safe out there and riding and things like that. So let's kick it off with history real quick. Kind of how these trails got created and how they became what they are today, and then we'll jump into some of that trail maintenance for like what those guys we talked about, Fred and all them other guys are doing to make sure that stuff's working well. But first, Rusty, you know more about anybody here. What's the history behind this?
Well, this was only one of the places in the state where that people had been riding for years, Jeeps back in the 80s and 90s, and then they started riding four-wheelers and motorcycles. And the agency looked at different places to go, and this was top of the list, and that's what they chose because it was pressed upon us from the legislature to do something. We had the lands, and they said, we got a lot of pressure. And I think it was Governor Sundquist around 2000 in the late 90s. It just was wanting to do something to bring it out for folks in the communities to be able to place to ride.
Well, and the ride was going on before we acquired the property.
It was going on before we acquired the property, and it's been going on, and the local folks were, pressed upon the agency to continue all uses here, and that's what was, some of our agency lands are bought with different things in mind and by different monies, and this is funded through wetlands, and it was allowed multiple use ever since the opening. So that's why it was used as the place where we brought the trails.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And the trails, I mean, they've brought in a lot of tourism, a lot of monies that way, and it's just grown and grown and grown.
Yeah, it has, and it really, in the beginning, it was slow because we really hadn't done any advertising really over the time. And then some folks from the Outdoor Channel came here in the early 2000s, and it blew up after that. Started getting more and more popular, and we get people from just all over the nation, out of the country. I've taken people from Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, different places. They come here from a long ways off to ride.
Yeah. Well, growing up, I mean, I came across the property before I worked with the agency and came up here and rode some, and it was fun, and had a friend of mine knew a guy who lived up here and knew the trails well and got some good riding. You got a lot of locals who have grown up here and done it all their life.
Yeah. And that's what's changed. When it first started, it was all locals. It was mostly local riders and then local hunters. And now it's a lot more non-residents just coming recreating for the riding part of it. It's been a huge shift due to the notoriety through the internet, basically.
Yeah. Well, today we wanted to cover the safety side of things and some of the LE side of things. Can we jump to Dustin on this and tell people, if they want to come up here and ride, what kind of licenses they're going to need to access the property and to do it legally, and then we'll get into some of the safety side of stuff.
Well, there's a bunch of avenues you can take, and Rusty's was really good. He made a little card that we started off with, and we've kind of explored that. But the two main ones you get is a hunt fish combo and then a WMA permit. That covers most of it, or all of it, but then the other people will buy a high impact permit. So there's the two main ways. But when you start getting into out-of-state license, it kind of is the same way. You buy a hunt fish combo and then a WMA permit, or a hunt license and a WMA permit.
Yeah. Okay. So those guys who like to hunt, they're pretty well ready to go. I mean, they've got the license that they need to access the property and all that. And you're allowed to use ATVs for hunting on the property. And some places, some RWMAs, you don't have that luxury, but it's it's different than anywhere else in the whole state.
As long as they don't go around the gate, that's the main thing. Stay on the trails that are open, marked or not marked, closer vehicles.
Okay.
So that gets you a ticket.
Exactly.
Dustin's not afraid to ride one.
Do you know how many miles of trails roughly that area has?
Area-wide, there are historically 700 or 800 miles, roughly, of trails and roads on the property. Where we're trying to draw the people to is what we're using federal monies to maintain the trails, and we have 105 miles here in the Sunquist unit, and we have 80 miles in the New River unit, and we have I just got a grant through this year for 40 more miles, which will complete the New River unit, be 100 in each roughly, and then a connector trail to connect.
So new trails, that many miles of new trails will be created.
Yeah, they're actually trails that exist. We don't make new trails here. Like y'all were saying, there's part of the recreational trails program is how we're funding this. It's a federal program that takes a small portion of the gas tax and allocates it to kind of like a trout hatchery put and take. OHV, pulling your OHVs, riding your OHVs, to give it back to them and put it into trails. Got fuel tax.
Yeah.
So there's a big pot of money nationwide, and we put federal grants to go find a trail. We can't make new trails, we use existing trails.
Yeah.
And we say, hey, we want to fix this trail. I have to jump all through the environmental hoops and all those kind of things to get the funding through. And that's how we've been funding it, actually, through all these years.
But for a bunch of people, it's going to be new trails for them.
It'll be new trail. Yes. It'll be signed. It'll be maintained. Like I say, it's challenging with all the new riders, and our crew has not expanded over the years. And if we have a rainy year and 7,000 or 8,000 riders over a few months of time, it's definitely a challenge. Yeah. But we definitely go in and maintain them. The ones that I'm talking about, the 105 miles here and the 80 miles there, we'll see a dozer sometime throughout the year, sometimes multiple times throughout the year. So if you see a bad spot, call our office there at the North Cumberland, my office. It's on the maps and on the internet, and we'll be glad to go try to fix it if it's something we don't know about.
Talk about the color system of the trails and what that means.
It's kind of like when we first started, there was no real terminology. I checked with the folks out west that were doing they've been doing stuff in the 60s and 70s, trying not to recreate the wheel so we could do something that people would understand. But there really wasn't a sign standard or anything, so I just went with a brown and yellow sign because those were kind of our agency colors, and yellow sticks out good in the woods, and the brown with yellow letters on it. And then the trail terminology kind of goes along with ski slopes. Easy, more difficult, and most difficult. Easier green, more difficult is blue, and most difficult is black, which is more technical. We have only 2 trails over here that are black. The rest of them are. I went and rode up at Hatfield McCoy when we first started just to kind of see because I'm not a motorcycle guy, quote unquote. I was just a wildlife person that took this job over and wanted to try to understand what we needed to do. And kind of saw how they did it and kind of their terminology to kind of go along with that. And basically it's green, blue, and black. Now there's a black and white map that's just easy, more difficult, most difficult. It's not a color system on the map, but she has them hashed or clear or black and shows on the map it tells on our giveaway map.
So how do folks find those maps and things?
You can go online. You can Google North Cumberland riding area, and our webpage will come up. And it has a link to, there's actually the black and white map is there, and you can purchase the color map. Any of the local stores up here at exit 141 off Interstate 75, we constantly supply them and the campgrounds with the giveaway map.
Okay, cool.
So, and there's also a couple kiosks out there where we have a resin map in a stand in case you just get totally lost and need to look and see kind of where it tells you where you are and look around. But they're marked fairly well. We have if you see anybody's out there and sees that there's signs missing, let us know. We don't want people to be confused. But we try to have indicator markers along the trail. We originally were doing it every half mile. And then, of course, with all the traffic, we have to move the trail back around a little bit, back and forth some. And then over time, sometimes they pull them, we go back and replace them. So they might not be every half mile, but definitely along the trail there'll be confidence markers. And at every trail junction there should be, if there's not, let me know, a trailhead marker that lets you know what it's got a name and a number. So if they pull the sign and pull the name, the number's still there, and that'll match with the confidence markers along the trail. Because there's a lot of other things. There was mining. Now there's not a lot of mining, but logging operations and other activities with the wildlife folks. So sometimes cut a new road in off the trail or something, and that way, if you're confused, just drive a little farther on the main trail you run. You'll eventually run into a sign.
Gotcha.
And I may be wrong, but we're working on better maps, are we not?
Hopefully, eventually we'll have a digital map, a digital download. That's in the future.
Wow.
Hopefully.
Nice.
And Tracy actually, one of our girls in GIS, actually had ours on the website. I'll try to get back on there. On our website, when the WMA map system for hunting, and you could actually, the blue dot would be on there when you were on our trail system was in that system. And somehow it got pulled out one of their updates or something. It wasn't there.
Gotcha.
So and I'll have to mention it to her to put it back. But that way, it's sort of what we're going to look for in the future. Some type of digital. People like the paper maps. I mean, we were printing 20,000 a year, and we were running out. So now they're printing 25,000 a year. They like to have that in their hand.
Sure. Yeah.
And they're sitting there. They come, and there's still a lot of tablets. They do these tablets now. But a lot of those maps, some of the issues we get into with, and what's happened over time is these other companies have went out and just tracked all these trails, and they put them on that map. Well, there's no maintenance. Me and my crew, me and 3 other guys, are maintaining these 180 miles of trails. But there's all these other trails people are riding because of that digital map.
Oh, it's creating problems.
So, and that's what we're going to have to make some adjustments in the future and hopefully work it out where that people are where they're supposed to be, and that we can have maintenance on there. Because if you don't have maintenance, it becomes an environmental problem.
Well, and you touched on it a little bit, but your number of folks versus the trail maintenance and the time and all that. Just cover that a little bit more. What are you guys doing on these trails? You're diverting water. You're maybe bringing in rocks.
The main thing is using a dozer, a track type dozer, to go along and just put in rolling water structures along to get the water off the trail. And because these trails existed, we didn't create them. And even we have sometimes had to move a trail around and put it at a different, lay it in as it should be as a contractor would. And with all the traffic we have, this rain we have, it doesn't really, it'll last a little longer. But generally, you just got to get the water off the trails. And then we put rock on the creeks. We do the sign work. We try to do some clearing along the trails for safety too, with sidearm mowers and some chemical applications, which I don't like to use as much, but we do it some, and to clear the sides of the trail so you can see for safety's sake along the main trails.
Well, and you got people coming, around corners, flying sometimes, very dangerous. I don't know what the speed limits are. 25 miles an hour on these trails. Some most of these modern machines have speedometers on them.
No, they'll go 70 or
90, 100.
Some of the new ones with the 250 horsepower.
I think the new Can-Am's got 210 horsepower or something like that.
The new Polaris has 250,
Whoa.
I think. One of
the 250, the race ready.
Race ready.
Wow.
Not needed here for the desert.
When I worked in the old area, would be old area 41, with you way back when, y'all got the first razor that I can remember, and it wasn't much wider than a standard four-wheeler then.
The little razor.
They were tippy,
Now they're huge. I mean, they have tripled in size.
It's like a Jeep.
Yeah. They're around 1,700 pounds, so they do wear more on the trails. They're not quite like a full-size vehicle, but one thing that there were some studies done by the Forest Service years ago that were talking about tire types and user, and it's not so much, a lot of people use aggressive tires to get through bad spots, and that's fine. But if you use the 4-wheel drive and don't stick it to the floor going up a hill. It'll really help us out in the future.
Okay, that's good tips. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it was more user than the tire. Some of these tires are like tractor tires, and if you really gouge one of those with a 200, 150 horsepower, it'll really dig some dirt. It trenches is what it does, especially if we have rain. A lot of places don't let you ride in the rain. We let people ride 24/7 year-round here, through the night. A lot of people not in rain, ride rain at night.
It's just as busy at 1 in the morning as at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, especially in the summer. Yeah, in August, in the summer. Yeah.
Talk about the volume of people. You showed me a video one time that blew my mind of how many people ride this place.
Yeah, so it's to back up Rusty, and on any given Saturday, you could do an OHV checkpoint, and we could check 100 people, 150 different people in an hour. And that's just constant. And that's not people, that's machines. So 100, 150 machines.
Right.
Just nonstop.
Y'all showed a video of every place there was to park a trailer and a truck in this area. Was just littered with OHV hauling machines, man.
The summer, pretty day in the summertime, the 141 was
the truck stops taking over. There won't be any the trucks don't have where to park. It actually, I'm surprised they don't
say something about
They have never called me. I'm very surprised. But we have parking, places for them to park on the map marked, which maybe won't house that kind of number, especially on a big weekend, like an opening, beautiful fall weekend at night, or a late night in the summer. You come there, it looks like a Christmas tree lit up in the vehicles with all the trailers. Yeah,
that's the perfect setup. I mean, they've got 24-hour gas stations at the interstate, so it's one-stop shop.
Right.
It's good business, I'm sure, for the local establishments too, but it does create all sorts of issues. But talk about the safety issue. I know y'all are having a lot of accidents, life flights out of here that people wouldn't believe.
Yeah, we had looked into it, I guess it was 2 years ago, wasn't it, when we first really started digging in. And we just got some numbers from one county, and it was 56, 57 life flights out that they knew of.
Right.
That's just what they know of, because a lot of times these come in as just an accident. I'll give you an example. We had a young lady that was involved in one, and we just happened to hear they were setting up an LZ for a life flight. And me and my partner showed up, and it was an ATV accident. It was a side-by-side accident, and we'd have never known. So a lot of it just goes unreported, and we don't know that.
The rescue squad goes out. They call 911, and they'll send the rescue squad out. So,
I mean, if you
we're lucky we have a real good rescue squad here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and if you think about 56 people in a year, just that you know of, that's a little more than one every week.
Right. And then when you're looking at 20 or 30,000 riders a year, probably. I mean, I don't know the exact number. It's a lot of riders in return. So statistically, it's not horrible, but I mean, you want to have safety. We're looking for it. You definitely want to try to promote that.
How are y'all promoting the safety up here? What's the enforcement, education?
Both. Both. It's a lot of both.
And one of the things that we've done, we're using the federal RTP money to fix the trails. But that money can only be spent on trail infrastructure, building the trails, if you will. And we don't, the other monies that comes from TDOT to TDEC, and the folks at TDEC actually having some administrative and some of the educational money they can pull off, we can't. Or the guys in my crew have been pressed, and we've put in a proposal they found a really good animated trailer. It's about $500,000, and we're looking at trying to get some funding. I don't know if that'll ever happen in the near future, but through a SWIG grant. So we're seeing maybe, I don't know how because we can't use the money for the trails to do that. I mean, it's kind of ironic. Let's put it that way, because this is something we really want to promote.
Education is important.
Education is very important, and that's what I know that we'd really like to have that in the future. I hope so.
Well, so I think about seat belts and helmets and things like that. Is that required on these trails? Is there any regulations around that?
Under 18. Helmets are required.
Yeah.
Let's see.
The operation, do you have to be a certain age to operate?
Not necessarily.
No.
Okay.
We always say, if people call, we tell them, follow the manufacturer requirements. Where other states, the difference here is that we've been doing this, since 2005, but we've never had a fully funded program where you have all the backing of statutory backing. Like if you look at some of the states like Michigan and other places where it's all, they have to wear gloves and knee pads. I mean, you got to have
been doing it a long time too.
Go to Hatfield, McCoy. They've been doing it for a long time. So, and it just depends on how the agency goes with that in the future. But it definitely is a push. I think it's a good. We do see a lot more. I think you've probably noticed it too. There's a lot more people wearing helmets.
That's good.
There's a lot more because a lot of folks come from those other areas. They're required to wear them. It's kind of surprised when they come here that they don't. It's second nature to them, and it's really good even in the UTVs. Because you can get your head on a. Par or whatever.
And I think a lot of them kind of freak out because they know they're going to ride on main roads some.
Yeah.
So they want to get that helmet on because they don't want to get stopped.
Right.
That's a good point I wanted to hit before we ran out of time is those main roads. I mean, you can connect. Some of these vehicles are allowed to ride on main roads, connect to the campgrounds or to the parking areas, and some that we don't run. The other people have other campgrounds outside of our properties and things. So you can get to the grocery store even or get to the market or whatever on these things.
Yeah, I can't.
The city of La Follette went to the legislature. I can't remember exactly what year it was. It might have been several years ago. But they went to get it approved, and they got it through where it's legal, and it's listed on their website. The city of La Follette website has the actual roads listed. So if you're going to come here and find in a stay at a motel down in town or somewhere, they mainly did it to get to people to their downtown restaurants.
Yeah.
And it's not all the main roads, but some of the main roads that connects you to gas stations and stuff like that. So it makes it more user-friendly. But, always advise real caution on the roads as you're riding with full-size vehicles.
Yeah.
And they're not street legal. That was another thing I get that asked a lot. Is my machine street legal? No, it's not.
Right, because they'll get their tags. There's a low like for farmers. They did it for farmers years ago, where you get a tag and you're on roads that are less than
low speed
vehicles, less than 40 miles. You're legal, and they'll say they got it all rigged up. Well, it's the only reason they go on the road is because the city and the county went to the state and got it through. We didn't really promote it at the time, but it's something they did, and it's so far it's worked out pretty good for the riders. They enjoy it.
Well, it is a great thing to have in the area. People enjoy it. It's a great addition to a property, where they can enjoy the rides, see that wildlife, see the pretty colors in October and November, and it's great. We're going to run out of time, but touch on waterfalls and overlooks. There's a lot of cool stuff to see.
Mm-hmm. There's three. The neatest waterfall, it really doesn't look like something from around here when the water, if it's not a dry time, like we're in a real dry time, it'll be dry right now. Two creeks come together off of Trail 14, Lost Streets Trail, and it's really beautiful to see. That's a really neat waterfall. You have to hike a long ways to see a waterfall like that in a lot of places in Tennessee.
Really?
And a couple of Hickory Creek falls off Trail 37, that's a good one. It's just a small, people go there and swim some. And then we have another small one off of Trail 2. It's just a small waterfall. So
just don't drive in it.
Yeah, don't drive. Yeah, main thing, cross the creeks at 90 degrees. We put some signs up. Do not drive up and down the creeks. We're trying to protect the environment some. And
protect those animals in there,
Yeah, we should have touched more on that.
And don't drink and drive.
And don't drink and drive. There you go.
Amen. And don't forget about this beautiful stop right here.
Yeah, and the Elk Tower, it's a big draw. A lot of people love to come to the Elk Tower. Yeah.
It is awesome to be sitting here doing a show with you guys and watching elk go across the field and then watch people walk up and enjoy.
We actually had some people come.
Yeah, so it's awesome. That's why we're here. It's what we want to promote, get people out here. Thank you all for the work y'all do. It doesn't get said enough and recognized enough, and we appreciate it very much.
Shout out to
Thanks for having us.
Joel Hyden, as well.
Best partner in the whole agency.
Yeah,
He works harder than anybody I know. Loves his job. Does everything like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're lucky to have him.
Yeah, lucky to have a lot of folks with our agency. They do a lot of good work, hard work. This is Tennessee WildCast. Thanks for tuning in again. Thanks for following us. Remember, TNWildlife.org for everything hunting and fishing. GoOutdoorsTennessee.com for your hunting license or fishing license. And if you like the hats that we're sporting today, you can find those at shop.GoOutdoorsTennessee.com. This is Tennessee WildCast. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee WildCast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.